What is going on, everyone? This is the Clunker Showdown. I'm your host, Brendan Bryan, and let's get to some clunking. This past weekend, the NASCAR Cup Series headed off to Sin City, Las Vegas to race at its first mile-and-a-half race of the season. This was surprisingly a clean race with 0 DNFs and only 1 caution for incident. But that doesn't mean some drivers didn't give it their best clunk this past weekend. Oh no, sir. The battle for last was an interesting one all day, as a little less than half of the field was one or multiple laps down. Drivers such as Todd Gilliland, Cody Ware, Connor Zilisch, and teammate SVG were all contenders for last. Connor Zilisch would bring out the only caution for incident on lap 212 after spinning on the front stretch, avoiding a teenage brake job by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. But after the final cycle of green flag stops, it would be SVG holding on to last place by a whole lap over Cody Ware. SVG did have damage from a lap 1 incident where he saved a spin coming out of turn 3 by hitting Chase Briscoe in the right rear. I wonder how much that aided in his descent to last, but regardless, SVG joins Josh Berry, BJ McLeod, and Chase Briscoe as last place finishers this season. Briscoe still leads the category with last place finishes at 2. Trackhouse Racing showed some speed to start the season on super speedways and at COTA, but over the past 2 weeks their best finish is 11th by the aforementioned SVG at Phoenix. This team continues to raise more questions than answer about their competitiveness and are quickly descending to prime clunking form. Also, Ross Chastain and former teammate Daniel Suarez apparently have beef that only a PR woman can solve. We will keep track of that feud as the year continues. No repeat winner at Vegas, Tyler Reddick and Ryan Blaney were seemingly on sabbatical, and instead Denny Hamlin with the short run car won the race and eliminated himself from the showdown. I always root for Hamlin every year to go far in the showdown and truly embrace the role of the backmarker. But he continues to disappoint me year in and year out. But hey, we know how this season ends for Hamlin, right? Am I right? Gosh, I hope that doesn't age poorly. This upcoming weekend, the showdown heads to the Lady in Black, better known as Darlington. I really wish they would continue doing the throwback weekend at this race, but maybe there'll be some good throwback schemes nonetheless. Someone has to rep JD McDuffie sooner rather than later. Come on, Cody Ware, please, pretty please. It suits ya. Anyway, here are the point standings after race 5 of the season at Las Vegas. In first, we have a new leader in the point standings, that being Connor Zilisch, who is 58 points ahead of the cut line and gained 1 spot in the standings. In second, we have Cole Custer, who was only 2 points behind Zilisch and 56 points out of the cut line, but lost a position in the standings. He is still the only driver this year who has completed every race and still doesn't have a top 20 result. In third, we have Cody Ware closing the gap. He is also only 2 points behind Zilisch, 56 points out of the cut line, and gained 1 spot in the standings. In fourth, we have Josh Berry continuing his fine form as of late. He is 52 points ahead of the cut line and gained 1 spot in the standings. In fifth, we have Todd Gilliland, who's pulled together some bad results as of late to be 40 points out of the cut line and gain 5 spots in the standings. In sixth, we have Austin Cindric remaining idle for, it seems like the whole season at this point. He is 37 points ahead of the cut line. In seventh, we have our boy Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He is 36 points out of the cut line and gained 2 spots in the standings. In eighth, we have Noah Gragson continuing his fall from, not really a fall. He continues on the same path he's been on. He is 35 points ahead of the cut line and gained 3 spots in the standings. In ninth, we have Eric Jones, who is 32 points ahead of the cut line, but lost a spot in the standings. In 10th, Chase Briscoe finally decided to wake up and according to, standards and whatever, and he had a top 10 result, meaning he is now only 32 points ahead of the cut line and lost 7 positions in the standings. In 11th, Ty Dillon begins his plummet. He is 28 points ahead of the cut line and gained 4 spots in the standings. In 12th, we have Austin Dillon, who showed speed for 2 weeks in a row. How could he? He is 27 points out of the cut line and lost 5 positions in the standings. In 13th, we have Riley Herbst, who is 22 points out of the cut line and lost 1 position in the standings. In 14th, we have Kyle Busch, who is 18 points ahead of the cut line. He gained 2 spots in the standings after another brilliant performance of suckery. In 15th, we have John Hunter Nemechek, who is 17 points ahead of the cut line and lost 1 spot in the standings. And your last driver in, the 16th place driver in the showdown, is Ross Chastain, who is 14 points out of the cut line and lost 3 spots in the standings, even after a 20th place result, I think. Something not very good. That shows you how bad these clunkers really are and how bad they want it. In 17th, we have Zane Smith, the first driver out of the Clunker Showdown. He remains idle in the standings after this week and is 14 points behind the cut line. In 18th, we have AJ Allmendinger, who is 23 points outside of the cut line. He gained 5 spots in the standings and is finally looking to position himself to contend to defend his clunking title. In 19th, we have Daniel Suarez, who was also 23 points outside of the cut line. He remains idle in the standings. And in 20th, we have Shane Van Gisbergen, who is also 23 points outside of the cut line. He gained 11 spots in the standings after a brilliantly performed last place finish. Well, there you have it, everyone. Week 5 of the 2026 NASCAR Cup season is in the books, and the Clunker Showdown heads on to Darlington to futilely attempt to tame the Lady in Black. Thank you so much for listening to the 2026 Clunker Showdown. I've been your host, Brendan Bryan, and I will see you all next time.